Welcome back to another episode of Beyond Limits. As you all know, my name is Naomi, and today we have a special guest in our midst. He's a professional in this line. He has been in this line for quite some time. I'll give him the honor of introducing himself.
Hello, my name is Bimiga Alamu. I'd like to say first that I'm a creative, I'm a writer, I'm a poet, and a certified special needs therapist. And I'm honored to be here with you today.
Thank you for joining us today. Let's just go straight to the conversation of today. Today, we'll be talking about acceptance. Growing up, I faced different challenges: physical, sensory, and emotional. There were times where I felt isolated, different, and misunderstood. I remember when I wish I could just be normal and when I felt invisible because others didn't fully accept me. For a very long time, I battled with self acceptance. I often wondered why I was different, why I faced certain limitations. It was a rough journey filled with feelings of frustration and longing for acceptance from society, friends, and family. That is why I felt like this topic is very important for people to understand how it feels to be in such situation and way forward. So, Mr. Bemiga, what does acceptance mean to you when it comes to special needs individuals?
Um, so acceptance for me cuts beyond just tolerance, because most people confuse the two. It means recognizing and valuing individuals, in this case, special needs individuals, as human beings first, beyond their diagnosis and and appearances. Beyond that, you have to respect their differences and you have to accept their unique strengths, rather appreciate their unique strengths. That's the way forward to inclusion.
Thank you for your input and definition on what acceptance means. Please, I would like to know some of the misconceptions that people have about individuals with special needs.
So I'll start with mistaking neurodiversity with insanity. It's something I used to have in the past where at a glance you can't differentiate between an insane person and somebody who is neurodiverse, but it's a common misconception. The difference is neurodiverse individuals see the world in a different way, whereas insane individuals are detached from reality. And where more I'm talking neurodiversity, not general special needs. General special needs is common misconception. Another one would be they can't be independent. People believe they can't be independent, and that's not true. I've seen people who are disabled who can function for themselves, carry out self-help skills by themselves without assistance going on. I mean, they probably had therapy over time, but eventually they can become independent. Another one would be I've spoken on neurodiversity, speaking on special needs in general now. Another one would be people believe that special needs individuals are incapable of thinking independently, not just functioning independently, but thinking independently, that they have to be prompted in thoughts, in reasoning.
Regarding to what you've just explained, I have had an experience whereby I apply for some certain jobs, and then when I get to the interview, or when I go for the interview, I am actually misjudged. Like people use my physical appearance to like judge my ability. You just feel like, okay, because of the way I look, I cannot fit into this job role or I can't do this job role. In your experience, what barriers make acceptance difficult?
Um, so this is not from any source or anything. It's my personal opinion, but I feel generally people are this country. I don't want to sound like a negative Nigerian. There are a lot of myopic mindsets out there. Myopic mindsets. People have to change how they think about not just special needs, but about humanity. Now, when I said earlier in the definition of acceptance that they have to see you first as a human being, that means a human being basically means an entity that can think, live, just basically an entity that is capable of thoughts, an entity that can feel, an entity that can think and feel, and can bleed. So if you remember those factors, like if you think of that first, then you are first appealing to your humanity. Not probably, you're appealing to your humanity. You're working towards your humanity, and that's the problem that we have in society today. People they're not humane. People are just blunt, and they feel, oh, that's how I am. So I think it's myopic mindset of people. And I also think government involvement. Yes, because if people at the top stage don't have some level of acceptance or have some level of awareness, some level of education that, oh, I can regard this person despite of how this person appears or what this person's difficulty is. We can integrate this person into society by doing this and this. If the government at the top level don't acknowledge that, then we at the lower level or middle level can't even get to that point at all. We have to start from the beginning. I think there's also a financial barrier. We all know how the economy is. It's like every day money is Nigeria currency is just reducing. What used to be, things are 5 times more expensive than it used to be. So getting healthcare for individuals with special needs, and not just healthcare, assistance, becomes difficult because it's more expensive. Why? Things are expensive, the economy is bad. So economy affects it in general. Getting help, what's the word? Getting consultancy, getting advice, everything. Money works, everything revolves around money. So once the economy is bad, it makes it difficult to integrate people in society, to accept people in society, because you can't help them grow, basically. Yeah. So one thing I must not forget though is awareness, because if people don't understand, they can't act accordingly. The level of awareness is much better than it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, but we need to keep making people aware. Awareness is a challenge generally. People need to understand and educate themselves on what this, or be educated on what this is before we can move forward. It has to be awareness, acceptance, and then inclusion. Also, I want to just say some few points, because if I say talk about society, I need to use some trigger words, some words that are common in society that help people understand better. There's prejudice, there's religious beliefs, there's cultural beliefs, there's stereotypes. Stereotypes are the most important type. Stereotypes in not just in special needs, generally how men should act, how women should act, what a man that is Yoruba does, what an Igbo man does. Stereotypes destroy everything. So we need to go away from stereotypes and imagine that, oh, this person, because he is this thing, will probably act this way. We need to take away stereotypes. Stereotypes, cultural beliefs, all those things are part of that social myopic mindset I was talking about, social stigma. We have to take out all of that. So just a few points more is like on the ones I've already said. When I talked about economic limitations, it's not just the economy in the sense that everybody is finding healthcare expensive or help expensive. It's also limiting families from socializing, like families who have financial strength or middle class, the social structure. The economy affects that in the sense that families who have children with special needs or individuals with special needs can't go out in public and integrate because they have a certain social class. There's that, and the last one on what's the last point I made? Was a point on oh my god, the government. Yes, so infrastructure needs to be set up. Accessibility in buildings, like government buildings don't even have accessible entrances for people who probably use wheelchairs or people who have like sensory needs. There's no thinking of that when they're making these government buildings. So infrastructure and accessibility into already existing infrastructure. Yes, those few points I wanted to add them. I hope that makes sense.
Wow. Most people actually focus on physical health, like physical therapy, physical school, and people are actually advancing on daily basis. So, how can the media influence how the society views individuals with special needs?
I do expect that question, but I like that question. And when I was introducing myself, I said I'm a creative. I say that because even as a creative, I can incorporate my experience as a special needs therapist into my creativity. And by creativity, I mean how I express in my poetry, my writing, because those are what I do. So as a media person, it's just finding a bridge between what you do and how you can solve a problem. But I think before you get there, we've mentioned those barriers already. You have to first get past those barriers of not knowing what it's about, of not having the money to carry it out. You have to get past those barriers as a media person, I'm just a content creator, because that's what's in vogue. You have to join, or how to help, how to be a human that is accepting people or creating awareness is you have to join what you do with what you know and what you can fix. Those three, like just create a bridge with that, and then you somehow are creating acceptance and awareness. Another thing I wanted to say is I also need to appeal to people that things are funny, yes, but sometimes there's the line between being funny and being stupid is blurred. Sorry, I'm being stupid. It's like there's a recent trend going on where people were dancing or doing a thing where they were acting like imbeciles to make it funny. Like make money or be an investor, and it was a trend. That's why I go back to social stigma and people's myopic mindsets in this country. I'm not a negative Nigerian. Point is, you can do just as little as not making jokes about serious situations. It can be like there's dark humor. We all get that there's dark humor, but don't make light of a situation, somebody's life situation, something that somebody struggles with. It's like somebody coming to call you out regularly because you are broke. Everybody has different struggles, and you come online and you're talking about being an imbecile and how would you rather be that, and then just making jokes out of it. Just do as little as not making light of that situation. Show humanity, show empathy. That's what I want to say, and I think that's how they can help. Yes, I think that's how social media and media personnel. I mean, you can also just write.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you for your insight. This would actually create more awareness on how the society should accept and treat individuals with special needs. Yes, and I also feel like special needs individuals should be seen and heard in the society. Last but not the least, Mr. Bemiga, I would like you to give a word of advice to parents and siblings struggling with community acceptance.
First things first, I think acceptance doesn't happen in a day. I want people who are going through being maybe misconceived or misjudged or isolated to remember that acceptance is a gradual process. It happens step by step. So celebrate don't solicit for it, because I need to say this. We're not soliciting for pity here. That's not what we're doing. We're not trying to get you to pity us and please accept us. We're appealing to your humanity. Rather than soliciting for pity, we're appealing to your humanity. Be humane. So when people are humane without being prompted towards you, celebrate those little milestones, those little victories, those little changes. It happens over time, and eventually we will get there. If we don't get there, those little ones count. We will get there sharp. Another one is, I think we need to remember that people who have, I'm talking about people who have special needs individuals living with them, or who cater for special needs individuals, or maybe have children on the spectrum. You need to remember that how people treat that individual is not a value or a quality of the worth of that individual. It's more what society has to give out. There's a song, I'm Gen Z, so the song I like where they said, you don't have to change the world can change its heart. So it has to be the world that changes, not you. You don't have to be different. The world just needs to accept that difference that you have. Another one is, I think, yes, put yourself out there. Tell your story, like we're doing now. It doesn't have to be fancy or mainstream. You just have to put it out there that this is what I'm going through. Everybody has their unique experience, but I'm sure for most cases, somebody's also sharing their experience with you in a different way, but they are sharing their experience. So when you put out your story, you're not only giving life to your situation, you're also helping other people to say, okay, this is what's going on, and people can come out and say their own stuff, empowering other people as well. So just say your story, put it on social media. You don't have to give out too much information. In fact, don't give out too much information. Be as discreet as possible, but describe what's happening, describe what you're going through, let people know that you exist. If there's something they usually say in creation, is like, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to exist. So start with that. I also think people with special needs need to yes, I said I'm Gen Z, so I'm not Gen Z, but I'm young. So people with special needs, or people catering for children with special needs or individuals with special needs, need to resist the urge to shalaye. It means don't over-explain yourself every time somebody challenges you. What's wrong with your child? No, nothing's wrong with you. Don't do that. You just, my child is living with you. It doesn't have. You don't have to tell them your story per se, because people tend to find faults and pick on weaknesses, like people who don't understand. You can, rather than explain to them or give excuses for why your child is behaving this way, you can educate them. You can just do that. Just resist the old shalai. Don't do too much talk now. Another one would be you need to give room for allies. Create a community. Community is big. Like, it's a cheat code to everything. Having people around you, have friends. Now, when I'm saying having friends, don't outrightly just put out your story to random strangers and expect some kind of fellowship with them. Or find people in different spaces that gravitate towards your experience or gravitate towards your way of life, and make them allies, make them a community. So that individual has, if you are not available with somebody that's going to take care of that individual, somebody to carry on that story, somebody to preach acceptance to the person that they meet in another place, it's like a wideness, like networking. There's that too. And I think the last one would be that special needs individuals or people living with special needs should, or rather, caregivers of people living with special needs should, I said something about telling people now. When you're telling people, especially in therapy, when we're giving reports, we start from a strength-based perspective. So if you're going to describe or introduce your special needs person, so I keep saying special needs, introduce your relative or the person you're caring for. If you want to introduce them, you focus on their strength, start with their strength. Rather than my child has, you can start with, my child is able to play the piano, or just from a strength-based perspective, focus on what they can do rather than what they can't do when you're describing them. And I think you should teach them to do that too. There's a student I know who is, initially he wasn't that vocal, but now you stare at him for too long. Why are you looking at me? What are you looking at me for? He's, I think, confident enough to express what he can do. I can dance now. Play the music. He'll express himself based on what he can do rather than what he can't, because he has got to that point where you are confident enough to do that. So basically, from a strength-based perspective, and I think that should be the last one. I hope that's enough. Thank you so much.
This is so impressive, Mr. Beniga, I must say. I sincerely want to appreciate you for your time and for such a wonderful and impactful session. Thank you for coming once again.
My pleasure. Thank you. My pleasure. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.